So, part two of fundraising, I want to share with you guys the tried and true method of fundraising and support raising and building your support team. Finding those people that God has already prepared in advance for you to join you on this journey, to going on these overseas outreaches and being a part of every single thing that the Lord does in these different places that He's sending us. So I wanted to let you know that there's going to be three phases to this. We have the preparations phase, then we have the implementation phase, and then lastly, we're going to have the communication phase. I'm going to break each one of those down for you guys. So in the preparation phase, you're going to be preparing for this, for going out and finding the support team that the Lord has already prepared for you. So step one to this is going to be name storming. This is one of the most important parts of it. You're going to actually spend time, you and the Lord, writing down the names that He brings to mind. Prayerfully asking the Lord, bring to mind different people that you maybe have prepared, and just begin to just name storm and list out people. These can be friends, family, coworkers, people that have invested in you in the past. Some of the people that I have found that love to invest in what's going on in my family now are people that invested in my husband and I when we were still young, when we were in college or just starting out as young 20-year-olds. I find that they are so encouraged to see a family still going hard after the Lord that they love to invest in what we're doing with our children. Another great place to ask the Lord is family friends of your parents if you're a young person. People that your parents write Christmas cards to. This is a great time of year as you start looking through your Christmas list. You might, if you're a young person, ask mom and dad, hey, can I see your Christmas list? Get aunts and uncles and be thinking like that. Sometimes we just need to broaden our nets, right? So we want to cast a large net because we don't know who it is that the Lord has handpicked ahead of us. And, unfortunately, we don't necessarily know who has the hilarious gift of giving to the kingdom of God. And so sometimes it takes a little bit to search and to look. And so one of the ways we do that is just begin by name storming. The next step as we name storm is to go ahead and begin to prioritize that list. And again, this is a prayerful endeavor. You begin to pray over these names and ask the Lord, who have you picked? And you may not know exactly when, like who is who, but that's okay. You just begin to prioritize and look at your list and begin to ask the Lord, who do I need to reach out to first? Where should I start? Our step 3 is going to be developing tools. So these are the actual things that we're going to be putting in front of other people to communicate what it is that we're going to be doing and what our actual needs are. So there's a couple things that I encourage every person to do. You're going to have to do this in the CDS, and that's going to be, you're going to write your letter, right, which is a support letter that's going to communicate, maybe a little bit of background of what's been going on in your life, the fact that you are in the discipleship school, and maybe even how the Lord led you to that. And then talk about the fact that we are going on an outreach with the discipleship school and sharing what the actual need is. A lot of times people shy away from actually expressing what the need is, but it's okay. We can actually express that there's a financial need. We can be okay with that. You don't have to shy away from that. People generally know that there's a financial cost to going overseas and doing mission work. And so that's okay. We just communicate it. So as you write your letter, we're going to do some class help with that. There's going to be some time to peer review, and we will also just help with just editing your letters and just giving you feedback on the letters. It's okay if you don't get it on your first try. We'll also send out different samples of letters that we've used in the past and that other students have used in the past. Those will be helpful for you too as well. Another thing that we encourage everyone to include would be a prayer card similar to this. It doesn't have to be two-sided, but something, I love to put those little magnets on the back of them so that when people get them, they can put them on their fridge and really pray for my family and I throughout the outreach. They can pray for us before we leave, while we're gone, and even when we come back, which we'll talk about why that's really important. Coming up with a prayer card that you can also send to people. It helps inform them of what's going on in your life. And everybody loves to get a beautiful picture of your family. The other thing that you may want to include would be a response card. Again, all this stuff is going to go into an actual snail mail envelope that you're going to send to people's houses. And I know that seems very archaic, but there's a reason why we do it that way. It's very effective. These days, you can't rely on just email and text and even social media. This is an important piece of it. We can utilize those other things, but you don't want to necessarily depend completely on that as we're support raising for these outreaches. A response card is something that they could just send you to maybe put their email address on so you have their information, that you will be able to contact them in the future and give them information about what your prayer needs are. The last thing you're going to want is self-addressed envelopes. You'll want to include that in your envelope. I usually put stamps on them. Not everybody does, but I do self-addressed stamped envelopes just to make it even easier for people that do want to respond and support us when we're going on outreach. So again, you're going to have a prayer letter and a support letter that we're going to help you create. You can do a prayer card and a response card and include a self-addressed envelope. All of that will go in an envelope that they'll mail out to people. And I encourage everyone to use bright colors, things other than white, things that are going to stand out when it comes out of the mailbox. I know it's very tempting to want to do labels. I find that when I hand address all my letters and I put a personal message on each support letter, I feel that it adds that personal touch that makes people feel seen and not like we're spamming people. And we don't want that. Everything about support raising is about building relationships. These are people that we want to remain in contact with. Hopefully they're people that you are in contact with and you want to continue inviting them into the work that the Lord is doing in your life. That's just an added value when you're handwriting things and you're hand addressing envelopes. It adds value to the person that's receiving it. So that is the preparation phase. We get these tools in place. We have our list of names. We've collected addresses. We create these tools. And the next phase is implementation. This is the part where we're actually going to put these things, actually address letters with names and addresses. We encourage people to do 50 to 100 letters. So an important part of this preparation phase, as we're gathering names and we're gathering addresses, we really want to encourage you guys that we are asking you to look outside of Crossbridge first and foremost. We are not about spamming our church. We send out lots and lots of people every single year. And it is helpful that we are looking outside of Crossbridge first. So when we say that we are looking for you guys to do about 50 to 100 letters, and send out support letters, the majority of that, so about 50 to 75 of those, we are looking for those to be outside of Crossbridge. The other thing that's really important, and will help you when we're finalizing letters, there's some information that you're going to need to include in a letter, and one of those is going to be to really communicate that we want believers giving first and foremost to their local church. And then the things that they're giving to us, any financial contribution that they're making to this outreach needs to be above and beyond what they generally give to their local church. We really want to honor the fact that the Lord calls us to support our local churches before we give offerings, right? So our tithe would go to the local church, and the offerings that are above and beyond that can go to other things. We'll help you guys again with that verbiage. That's going to be key to include in our letters. The implementation phase is going to be all about putting these pieces in place, and we will have different dates and timelines to keep you guys moving forward because it comes really fast. The summer is going to be here before you guys know it. And so we will give you deadlines to give us the list of 50 to 100 names and addresses. Then we'll give you a deadline. We want to see your letters and check off on them and make sure that they do have all the fine print that we need for tax purposes and whatnot. And then we'll give you a timeline and a deadline for when they need to be sent. And then the rest, guys, is just walking in faith, and as people begin to respond, just thanking the Lord as you watch Him provide and open the doors for this summer outreach. The third phase is going to be the communication phase. And I probably have already said this for the other two phases, but this one's the most important. And so with the communication phase, this is where I see time and time again people kind of drop off. I've seen it with people that I have personally supported and you tend to drop off and you never hear from them again. And that we don't want to be like that. In the discipleship school, we want to be people that really do well with the communication phase. The importance of the communication phase, again, is valuing the individuals that God is bringing to you as your support team. You have now built your own support team, and you're taking all of those people with you on outreach. They become part of your journey. They become part of your story. They become part of all the work that happens during the outreach, and they're going to want to hear all the exciting things that God's accomplishing. We don't go alone. We never go alone. We go along with our support teams. Communicating back to our support team is just vital. It's super important. A couple things. Again, you'll have this all on your handout, but a prompt thank you note immediately when you receive someone saying, yes, I want to be part of your support team. Here's some money that the Lord put on my heart to give to you. We need to thank them. We need to send them a handwritten, beautiful, over-the-top thank you note. Again, we want to create this culture where people know that when they give to folks in the discipleship school that are going on outreach, that they're going to be communicated with and they're going to be honored. So let's extend our culture of honor in the way that we thank and bless our supporters. We're also going to continue sending out update letters before we leave, while we're away, and when we return. These communications are really important. Again, like I said earlier, some of the most important time in an outreach that I feel that I and my family need prayer is when we come back. A lot of times there's a lot of adrenaline and enthusiasm on the way there, and we've sacrificed and we've put a bunch of things on the back burner, and we've done the hard work, and then we go and then we come back and it's kind of like, and then there's a tendency for all heck to break loose. And that's really a great time when you need to reach out to your supporters and say, we're back, we're in country, but please keep praying for us because we are trying to re-enter. There's a lot of stuff going on in our hearts. Our kids are struggling with different things. We're trying to process what it looks like to live in America with all the things we have. So there's a lot of things that you're going to be processing on the back end of a trip. So you want to continue to communicate with these supporters that are also not just financially supporting you, but going to be your prayer team as well. So one other aspect to the communication phase is you're going to want to think ahead. So a lot of times you may even want to gather supporters for a time of just sharing your heart, sharing your stories, and sharing specifically what God accomplished in the kingdom. Remember that we don't go alone. We go with our support team, and every single person that makes a decision for Christ, every healing you see, every life that you see transformed, every seed that is planted, it's the reward of this entire team that has supported you, that has sent you, and that has financially sent you and have prayerfully supported you. And so again, just blessing them with a time to gather together, have a meal together if that's applicable, and share what the Lord did through them and through their faithfulness and through their gifts. So just to reiterate, we have 3 phases that we're going to be walking you guys through: the preparation phase, the implementation phase, and lastly, the communication phase. Hopefully this has been helpful to kind of demystify the whole concept of support raising. I just want to share with you guys personally that one of the biggest blessings in my life has been watching the Lord provide for the very things He has called me to. Sometimes the Lord calls us to things and it just seems completely impossible. There's no way. And a lot of times we shut the door because we don't have the faith to walk through the door that He's called us into. And I think a lot of times that's what happens with going overseas. We think that it's just not possible. We don't have the finances. We don't have the resources. How could I possibly get off work? And each of you guys are going to see God move the obstacles out of your way this summer. And so for me, one of the things that the Lord called my family and I to just last year was to do the 3-month ETN internship in Southeast Asia. Of course, the funds that we needed to raise, it was over $30,000 for a family of 5. But the Lord said to do it. And so we began this process and we walked through these phases: the preparation phase, the implementation phase. And all the while we are stepping out in faith. We are making plans. We are believing that the resources are going to be there. And in a few short months, the Lord brought into our path an amazing support team of over 200 individuals that invested in that outreach. And we got to just be so encouraged, not just by what they gave, but by their prayers continually throughout the entire summer. Being able to just send home letters and just be so encouraged to know that there were over 200 people that had our little card on their refrigerator. People would tell me, I have it sitting next to my sink. So every morning when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm praying for your family. Or every time I walk to the refrigerator, I see you guys. And it's such encouragement when we're on outreach to know that the Lord is using these different tools that we've sent out to rally prayer on our behalf. And to just see the work of the kingdom get done. So we saw over $30,000 come in, but we also saw just so much more. These people, this team that we had, enriched our lives in ways beyond what we could imagine. So I just want to encourage you guys that whatever total number you may have in your mind as you look towards this summer and towards these next outreaches, that you step out in faith. Like I've said, the Lord will fund his work. If he's called you to it, he is going to put the resources there. And so just step out in faith and believe and be looking for those hilarious givers that the Lord has already surrounded you with, and enjoy the journey and see their joy and share your joy about the trip. And it's just going to be a great opportunity to just see God move in ways that you probably haven't seen him move before. Be blessed. We're here for you on this journey. We are here to encourage you. If it gets tough, we're here to help you when you get stuck. So reach out to us all throughout this journey, and we look forward to hearing about the ways that the Lord moves on behalf of you guys and his kingdom.